It's around 2:17 in the afternoon, and for no clear reason, your energy just disappears. The light in the room hasn't changed. The day isn't over. Nothing obvious has gone wrong. And yet, something inside you has shifted. Your eyes feel heavier. Your thoughts begin to slow. Just slightly. Even simple tasks, things that felt easy this morning, now take more effort. You pause, and a quiet question rises. Why does this happen, even when the morning felt completely fine? There is a kind of fatigue that often appears in the afternoon after 50. It's not dramatic. It doesn't feel like illness. It doesn't interrupt your day in a loud or obvious way. It's quieter than that, more like a gentle dimming of the lights. You may find yourself rereading the same sentence twice, forgetting what you walked into the room to do, losing interest in something that held your attention just a few hours earlier. Your body feels heavier, your motivation softens, and sometimes your thoughts turn inward. Am I just getting lazy? Why can't I stay focused like I used to? But here is something important to understand. You're not imagining this, and more importantly, this is not a personal failure. What if this afternoon drop in energy has nothing to do with discipline, but instead reflects a biological rhythm your body has always followed? One that is simply becoming more visible now? Inside your body, there is a natural timing system, a quiet internal clock, known as your circadian rhythm. It regulates when you feel alert, and when your body begins to slow down. Most people are familiar with the major signals. Waking in the morning, feeling sleepy at night, but there is also a smaller, often overlooked phase, a natural dip. It usually happens in the early to mid-afternoon. A gentle valley between the peaks of your day. Even in younger years, this dip exists, but after 50, it often becomes more noticeable. Not because something is wrong, but because your body is no longer compensating the way it once did. The systems that support alertness and recovery are still there, but they are less forceful, less aggressive, more honest, so the dip feels deeper, more present, harder to ignore. And there is another layer to this: blood sugar. After you eat lunch, your body begins processing nutrients, especially carbohydrates. This creates a natural rise, followed by a gradual fall in blood sugar levels. When you were younger, this transition was smooth. Energy was distributed efficiently. You barely noticed the shift. But over time, insulin sensitivity can change. The system becomes a little less stable, a little less precise. So instead of a steady stream of energy, you may feel something different. Not a sharp crash, but a quiet fading. A sense that your system is pulling back, asking for a different pace. And beneath all of this, your nervous system has been working quietly all morning. Making decisions, processing information, managing small stresses, often without you even realizing it. This creates an invisible load. Mental effort accumulates. Earlier in life, your body recovered from this quickly. In the background, you didn't have to think about it. But after 50, your nervous system becomes more sensitive to that accumulation. Not weaker, just more aware. By the afternoon, your body begins to signal, "We've been active for a while now. It may be time to shift." And there is something happening even deeper, at the level of your cells. Inside your body are tiny structures called mitochondria. They produce the energy your body uses every moment of the day. You can think of them as small engines, quietly converting oxygen and nutrients into usable fuel. Over time, this process becomes slightly less responsive. Not broken, not failing, just slower to adapt. Like a well-used engine that still runs reliably, but no longer responds instantly to every demand. So by the afternoon, when your day is still asking for focus, clarity, and output, but your cellular energy production is responding more gradually. You begin to feel the difference, not as a collapse, but as resistance, a subtle mismatch between what is being asked and what is readily available. And this is where everything begins to shift. Because your body is not running out of energy. It is asking for a different rhythm. Pause for a moment, and let that settle. What if the afternoon was never meant to feel like the morning? What if it was never designed for peak performance, but instead, for transition? A space between doing and restoring. A quieter phase in the natural cycle of your day. Many people resist this. They push through. Another cup of coffee. More effort. More pressure. And somehow, it doesn't work the way it used to. Because the body no longer responds to force the same way. It responds to alignment. And when you begin to understand this, your response begins to change. You may notice something simple. When you step outside, even for a few minutes, and allow natural light to reach your eyes, something begins to shift. Your alertness gently returns. Your internal clock receives a signal. The day is still active. And your body adjusts. Or when you move, just a little. Not a workout, not a demand, just a short walk, a few minutes of stretching. Your circulation improves. Your muscles wake up. The heaviness begins to lift. Because movement tells your system, we are still engaged. It supports energy, without forcing it. Even hydration plays a quiet role. By the afternoon, many people are slightly dehydrated, without realizing it, and the body feels this. In your brain, in your muscles, in your ability to focus. A single glass of water won't transform everything, but it removes one layer of resistance. And sometimes, that is enough. Food matters too, not in a restrictive way, not in a complicated way, but in how it supports stability. You may begin to notice that when your lunch is lighter, balanced with protein, healthy fats, and fiber, your afternoon feels different, more even, more steady, because your body is not working as hard to correct sudden spikes and drops. It is supported, instead of challenged. None of these are rules. They are responses. Small ways your body begins to shift when it feels understood. So the next time that afternoon heaviness arrives, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" you might ask something else. What is my body asking for right now? Is it movement, light, a pause, a breath? This is not about doing more. It is about noticing more. Because the afternoon is not a failure in your day. It is a transition within it. A natural shift from output to recalibration. And when you begin to work with that rhythm, something changes. Energy does not disappear. It reorganizes. It softens, then gradually returns. You may find that your evenings feel more stable. Your mind becomes clearer again. Not because you pushed harder, but because you listened earlier. This is what aging well often looks like. Not control, but awareness. Not force, but alignment. Your body is not working against you. It is asking to be understood. In the quiet signals, in the subtle changes, in the rhythms that have always been there, but are now easier to hear. And this is where you begin to hear your body differently. And that changes everything.